people go nuts for it. And I made my own creation of it because I thought it was very blah. Nothing against the Dubai viral chocolate. I just want to say the world needs to see how things unite us more than they divide us. That we all have so much more in common. And if we all just focused on what brings us together, I really think our world would be so much better of a place. Me, when I have a stressful day, I want dal, chawal, achar, and papad.
Interesting.
That's what I want. That's all I want. I want a nice big heap of it.
Interesting.
And I want my mom's coconut dal.
Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Freestyling. I'm joined by all-around cool person, foodie, and content creator, Samira Ghani. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
So let's dive straight in. You're a food aficionado. I guess my first question is, what is your origin story? Like, where did you grow up? How did you get into it?
So my family is a whole family full of foodies. We like food. You're happy, you eat. You're sad, you eat. And any emotion, you eat. We're very much about khana, like food. It's all about food. But my mom is a great cook. So my mom grew up in Hong Kong. She learned to cook Chinese food.
Wow.
I grew up in Greece. So I learned to make Greek food. So a lot of my food has Greek influence in it too.
Interesting.
Now I live in New Jersey, so I've picked up a little bit of the American food, little bit, not too much, but more of the Greek in it.
Was there anything that your mom made that you loved when you were younger that really sort of stuck with you?
Honey walnut chicken. Like I would literally eat them before she could plate them.
Really?
It would really irritate her too.
So what was in that? Was it like a Hong Kong inspired dish?
It's in Hong Kong. It's a Hong Kong inspired dish. It's so yummy. Like she'd batter her chicken, fry it. It's like a whole process, right? And then she'd make the sauce and soak it up, and it's just so good.
And that's how you learned, by watching your mom?
When I got married, I knew nothing about cooking.
Really?
Nothing. I couldn't even boil an egg.
Interesting.
And then I'm like, I should learn. And then I realized I really love this. And you don't realize how much you learn by seeing your parents and what they do. My mom made fresh food for breakfast, fresh food for lunch, fresh food for dinner. So we lived in Greece, so we didn't have like you all have cooks and stuff. Here we didn't have that.
Fair.
In Greece, it's not like that. You cook your own food, in America.
Yeah.
But I watched her make 3 separate meals every day, and she took such great pride in serving it. So it was in the back of my head. And then when I started cooking, I'm like, oh, I really enjoy this. This is like therapy. I love it.
What was the first thing you made, like you felt like, I've nailed this?
Satay.
Really?
So the first time I messed it up really badly.
How?
Because the whole house was smoking.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, oh, this clearly I didn't do this right. So I'm like, Mom, help. And then she walked me through it. And then it came out really good after that. And
That's
I'm like,
amazing.
it's a staple in my house now.
I see. Are there any other staples in your house, since, you have inspiration from Hong Kong, Greece?
So souvlaki is something my kids enjoy eating a lot. So it's basically Greek chicken that's baked. And you're supposed to use like the thigh of the chicken. I end up using the chicken breast because it's less fattening. And then I just bake it. And I put it into a pita bread with some tzatziki and some onions. And, you can put whatever you want.
My mouth is watering.
So good. And so easy to make, literally 20 minutes. Like, I don't want to spend all day in the kitchen. So I've taken a lot of my mom's recipes that were labor intensive. And I made them, appropriate for someone who's running after kids.
Yeah.
So my recipes are 20, 25 minutes tops.
I love that. Is there anything because I know Pakistani dishes take a while to make, when you're like hovering over a stove. Is there any one that's like you've nailed down to like 20, 25 minutes?
Kadhai chicken.
Really?
It is life-changing. So my friend gave me this recipe. It was her mom's recipe, and it doesn't require any onions. So those days when you just don't want to chop an onion, this is life. I have it on my blog as well as my website. But it's so easy. Just make your masala, throw in some water so it doesn't burn, throw in the chicken and the tomatoes, and it's done.
Fascinating. And with that being said, like Pakistani food is very traditional. I can't ever imagine a way to sort of experiment with it too much. Is there any way that you sort of melded two worlds together, one being Pakistani and one being another sort of?
Yes, actually, there are 2 ways. I do a mac and cheese, a tandoori chicken, or chicken tikka mac and cheese.
Oh my gosh.
Depending on what I have on hand. And I kind of stumbled upon this by accident. Because I had mac and cheese at home, and then I had tandoori chicken, and there's a little bit of both. And I hate wasting food.
Fair.
So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to mix it together. And I mixed it together, but something was missing. So I'm like, let me just make some more tandoori chicken spice, like the masala. I cooked it down till the oil came up, threw in my mac and cheese with the tandoori masala, and it was amazing. And
I
now
need
it's
this.
like
I need this recipe.
it's on my weekly rotation because my kids love it.
I mean, I can imagine. You just sort of talk me through it, and I already know I'm gonna love it. So, as a content creator, I'm sure you always keep track of trends that are going on. I'm not so much into baking because I boil water. Like I can boil, like burn water pretty much. That's the best I
I
could do.
promise you, follow one of my recipes. They're the easiest because I literally make.
I want to get into it.
All
personally.
my friends' kids who've gotten married are like, Samira auntie, give me an easy recipe. I'm like, here, follow this. And they're like, oh, this is easy. I'm like, see, you got this.
Your viewers follow Samira. She'll help you out. So on Instagram, I mean, I follow this one baker who makes really aesthetic videos of him baking all kinds of Italian goods. Is there any sort of trend on Instagram related to food that you find is overhyped, perhaps? Like a certain
Yes,
type of
and
food?
against popular opinion.
Oh, it's a hot take. All right.
So everybody loves this Dubai viral chocolate.
Yeah, I've never tried it.
It's okay, it's nice, but it's not like, oh my God, this is life changing. Okay, it's okay. It's a once in a lifetime. I would never go and buy it, and I would certainly not spend hundreds of dollars on it.
It's worth hundreds of dollars?
In Dubai, apparently, it's mad expensive, and I'm like, I don't even know honestly if I'd spend more than $10 on it.
Yeah, on a chocolate. Yeah.
I mean, I'm like maybe $10 if I feel generous.
Yeah, fair.
But people go nuts for it. Now I made my own creation of it because I thought it was very blah. Nothing against the Dubai viral chocolate.
What was in that?
Love it,
What was in
it.
that chocolate?
So it's kunafa.
Ah, okay.
And you mix it with pistachio butter. You cook your kunafa with butter, so it becomes crispy. You throw in pistachio butter, and then you melt your chocolate, put it in a bar mold, put the kunafa mixture, and put chocolate on top, which was fine. But it was.
You felt like something was missing?
It was missing. So I made a kunafa cake for my friend's birthday, and she loves Middle Eastern flavors. So I made my take on this. So I like the pistachio butter with the kunafa. That is really yummy. But the chocolate, I don't know, just something was off with it, in my opinion. So I put orange blossom water. I made the cake, and I put a cream infused with orange blossom water and pistachio butter running through the cream. So I made my cake, I put a little bit of cream, I put this kunafa on top of it, put some more cream, put the cake on top, and covered it with the orange blossom water cream and covered it with chopped pistachios. It was so good. And I felt like the chocolate really took away from in my opinion, the viral chocolate. Like everybody's like, oh, I want this. I'm like, no, but this tastes. So I feel like it's not really that, but it is.
Fair.
So I kind of like borrowed the idea.
Yeah.
But made it my own.
I mean, you gave it your own spin. You reinvented it. In the same way, speaking of reinvention, aside from your tandoori mac and cheese, which I mean, I'm dying to try, have you reinvented any other Pakistani dishes?
So maybe not reinvented, but, we have lots of leftovers. And I really hate throwing food out because it breaks my heart. Because there are people who really need this food. But my kids also don't like to eat the same food for 5 days. So I'm like, so if I make like a kadhai chicken or keema, or I make buns. I make this bun dough it's literally the easiest thing to make. You make your bun dough and you make little buns and you fill it with your leftover meat. So if you have keema, you put your leftover, you take out the potatoes. You never want to put potatoes and freeze them. So you take out your potatoes and you put it in there and make your bun and put it in the freezer. When you want a snack, take it out, put it in egg wash and put it in the oven. You've not wasted food. And it makes a great snack. The kids take it to school. And it's super healthy.
I love that. Speaking of healthy, I've started my own sort of fitness journey in the last year where I've been focusing on high protein foods. I realized, especially here, maybe it's just my family. My family is not very healthy. We don't really have that many high protein food options. At least they see high protein food options. Is that something you think about often when you're thinking healthy food?
I do think about high protein foods because if you want to maintain your muscle mass, you have to eat.
Exactly.
As we get older,
your muscle mass
the
decreases.
last thing we want is everything to hang.
Yeah, exactly.
So we want to have our protein. So I try to incorporate chickpeas into my salads.
Fascinating.
Chickpeas is high in protein. Canola beans is high in protein. So you mix that into your salad and you've gotten fiber, you've gotten protein, and so much better than just a plain lettuce and tomato.
Yeah.
I put hummus on bread and then I put vegetables on top of it, and I use like a high protein bread. So in America you get this Kodiak
Interesting.
protein. Like I make high protein pancakes also.
I've seen all those like various like recipes online of like high protein pancakes with like cottage cheese and
And
stuff.
it's so easy to make. It's so easy to incorporate. I mix cottage cheese into my salad dressing. So it becomes like a creamy salad dressing, but high protein
Yeah.
and low fat because I get the low fat cottage cheese.
Is this on your blog?
It's not, but I will post it for you.
Please post it.
But it's super easy. Like I just literally take 2 tablespoons of cottage cheese, stick it into my any dressing because dressing is so easy to make. I think it's painful to buy it. It's so easy to
Yeah,
make.
because we don't even know what's in them
It's
actually.
literally oil, lemon juice or vinegar, salt, pepper, and whatever other herbs you like,
Interesting.
and garlic. Because
and garlic, yeah.
And then you put a tablespoon of cottage cheese. You make that puree. That becomes like cream. It's delicious. You can add spinach in there too, and that also adds like a good amount of nutrients. And you pour that over your chickpea salad, and you've gotten yourself a really good and healthy high protein salad.
I am very hungry, producer. Every question we go on, I'm starving.
You'll have to come visit me in the US.
I do. I definitely do. 100%. I'm very interested to know, like, that we learned how you began cooking. Why did you decide to start your blog, actually? Like, what led you to that?
So I've always loved cooking, and being that I knew nothing about cooking, I figured other people might also know nothing about cooking.
Yeah.
So maybe this would be a nice way to share some knowledge with them. And then I did it occasionally on and off, and then COVID hit. And the community where I live, nobody had anything to do. Like we were literally all home.
Yeah.
Trying to see this COVID airborne. What is going on? Are we going to live? Is this the end of the world? Like at one point, nobody had any idea what was going on.
Yeah. In the early days, yeah.
And and as much as I didn't like doing it, I would do Instagram lives because people would go on there and they'd have something to do for an hour, and I had to cook anyway. So because at that time you couldn't do anything else.
Yeah.
Like you could not order food, nothing. So I'm like, I have to cook anyway. So
Fair,
I'll cook live and give people something to do, and that's how it all started.
I love that. I just think that it's just, especially at that time when that's what my sort of initial wellness journey kind of began, because I had nothing to do. I started exercising, I was looking up stuff. So I think what you did without realizing, I think must have helped so many people in your community at that time.
I hope so, because it's very so important to build that sense of, we have to be there for each other. And I think that's really important.
And through food, I mean, the easiest
through
way to go
food,
about
you
it.
learn
Everybody eats.
And you learn about different cultures, different people. Like, my mom would make African food, a lot of African food.
Really? Why is that?
We have like some sort of African roots also.
I see.
So we have like the Pakistani roots, the East African roots. Then we have my parents lived in Hong Kong.
And then Greece.
We grew up in Greece and then America. So there's a lot of, different things in there. So I had that knowledge to give. And then I would always look up other people's foods and say, like, teach me, tell me about your culture. Where do you come from? And I'd learned so many different people's cultures and things that they celebrate. And it's just learning. And I had so much fun doing it.
Yeah, it sounds really fun. I mean, I'd love to learn about it from your blog. And
it's such a wealth of information.
Yeah.
You learn about other people and how their celebrations are and what they eat. And everyone's celebrations are around food.
Yeah.
And it's so fun because you learn all these different ideas, and it's so fun.
And you also mentioned we were speaking before the shoot, you said you love writing. I heard that you might have a book in the works?
I do. It should be coming out end of November. It's inspired by my 5-year-old. Well, at that point, when it started the idea when she was 5, and it's finally come to fruition now. It's inspired by Ariana and her few friends, and how they're friends from different backgrounds, and they've come from different faiths, and they're celebrating all their holidays together.
Wow.
Which is super exciting because I love the idea. There's so many misconceptions about everybody's religions and this and that.
And different
cultures,
communities, yeah.
That this is a way that every child gets to highlight what religion, what event they're celebrating, what holiday they're celebrating. And it's special for them. And it's a book that you can read in class because it's about everybody's holiday. And it's really important to have that because there's no book like that, like about Eid, Diwali, Hanukkah, and Christmas.
Yeah.
And it's nice that we learn. Like, this is what this is about. And each child feels like, I'm highlighted. I'm special. And these are real kids. They are Ariana's friends.
Wow, that's really inspiring, actually. Amazing. With that said, is there like a food in common, do you think, with everybody? Like maybe an ingredient, like that sort of transcends cultures, would you say?
So I think the East Asian cultures are very similar. So like Ariana's friend Asha and her, they're very similar foods because East Asian foods are very similar. I think that maybe the Jewish and American foods are more similar.
Really?
Like the cookies, like they have like
I guess bagels. When I think, New York, I think bagels.
bagels, yeah.
Interesting.
But
Fascinating.
then the Jewish culture also has a lot of Middle Eastern food. So, but I guess more similar would be the East Asian cultures, like the Indian and Pakistani.
Definitely,
They're
yeah.
like almost similar.
I've seen, they say they advertise as a Pakistani restaurant and then right next to is an Indian restaurant. And I'm standing outside thinking, what's the difference? I don't know. Like, I can't tell what the
There's
difference
very
is.
little difference. And I just want to say the world needs to see how things unite us more than they divide us. We all have so much more in common. And if we all just focused on what brings us together, I really think our world would be so much better of a place.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you do so much. Is there something that you do that sort of on a bad day that you eat that makes you feel better? Because you're doing a lot. You're worrying about the community. You're taking care of us like consumers on the internet who need food ideas. What do you do for you?
Me, when I have a stressful day, I want dal, chawal, achar, and papad.
Interesting.
That's what I want. That's all I want. I want a nice big heap of it.
Interesting.
And I want my mom's coconut dal. So
What's a coconut dal?
It's basically just a dal, and she would put coconut milk in it with lots of spices. And and she'd boil an egg and put in there.
Interesting.
So to me, that is just like, I've had a crap day. I just want this dal chawal, and I want achar and papad, and I want nobody to talk to me.
Fair.
I want peace and quiet.
That makes sense. You're doing a lot. You have a lot on your plate. And if you could team up, my last question would be, if you could team up with one famous chef, whether it be alive or not, who would that be?
Pakistani chef?
Any of your choose.
So I forget, I shouldn't. I forget his name, but I find him very inspiring. He was Sadat, I think? I don't remember. Yeah, I find him so inspiring. Like, I love looking at his work. I love the way he presents himself. So that would be the Pakistani chef I would love. The Indian chef who I think is fabulous is Vikas Khanna. He owns a restaurant in New York, and it's amazing.
Interesting.
And European or American chef that I would like would be Giada De Laurentiis. I just like her presence. I like her recipes are really great too.
Fascinating. And I guess actually I forgot my last question. Food wars are very real. Pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
That's a hot take.
Pineapple on pizza is life with jalapenos. Oh,
I think I finally need to try it.
you have to.
I keep assuming that I'm not gonna like it.
No, it just sounds gross, but it's really good.
The texture though.
So good, I'm telling you.
Really?
So my mom used to make this lychee stuffed with ground beef and really finely chopped walnuts and celery. Now, when you think about it, it sounds really gross.
Yeah, I've never had a lychee in my life.
I promise you, she battered it and fried it. I could eat 26 of them in one sitting. It's so good. I have a friend in New Jersey, and she's like, no. And I'm like, just try it. And she tried. She goes, oh my God, this is amazing.
I feel like if I come to your house, my flavor palette is going to expand like a lot. Because I'm a picky eater. I like to say I'm adventurous, but I'm not really. Like lychee I've never had. Pineapple I've just looked at and been like, no. So
no, if you come, I will expand your palate.
Interesting. I will take you up on that.
You know what also people think is gross, but it's really nice?
What?
Chocolate dipped pineapple. So I know people think it's gross. I
didn't even know that was a thing.
But it is so good.
Interesting.
And you have to have like a good quality chocolate to dip it in. Oh, it's life-changing. So good.
I have one more question. I know I keep saying last question, but I do have one more since you just brought this up. Is there one thing that you think everyone should try, but generally people steer clear of aside from pineapple-related foods?
I love garlic, and I think garlic chips are delicious. I know people are going to be like, oh, that's gross. But I'm telling you, garlic chips with a little bit of red chili powder
As in
Or-
like a actual like.
Yeah, like an actual, like you have them slice it really thin, shallow fry it, soak it, put it on a paper towel, soak out all the oil. I actually use the chaat masala I get from here, and I put that on it, and it's so good.
Fascinating.
It's delicious, and garlic is really good for you.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, nobody wants to come near you after that, but that's okay.
Fair. Well, thank you so much. This is such an enlightening conversation.
Thank you for having me. I really enjoyed being here.
That was another episode of Freestyling. Subscribe to City FM 89 for more. Hit that like button, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you around.